All right, in the center right starting location, excuse me, we have our Protoss player.
MVP Genius!
And the resemblance to Doug Funny is uncanny whenever I see this guy. I just cannot get over it. That's, what's that guy's name? Skeeter? Hey, Doug. All right, over here we have
NSH Seal!
Seal. Seal's so good. He is so good. I really feel like he's like the same caliber as Nesty whenever I watch him play. I'm like, well, you just don't die, do you?
Huh.
I'm like, you just don't do that.
You
He's
know,
like, some people dabble with dying. He's just like, no, I don't actually do that.
I'm good. Thanks.
He's like, no, because when I lose games, I might not, I'm basically not going to win. I'm like, oh. Uh-oh, got the probe right away.
Ouch.
Already Seal off to a good start.
Yep, cool first. That's really bad for Genius. They lost that probe scout. He's going to have no idea what's coming, how many cannons to make, stuff like that.
He's probably going to have to send out another probe right now.
I wonder if he'll actually send that probe.
He better. Oh, really? He's not going to do it? I don't know, man. I think it's like so much more worth it to just know. Have some idea of what's going on.
Well,
excuse me.
Definitely a Forge expand as we've seen, and Seal's going to go ahead and expand. Might even make a macro hatchery right away. I'd love to see that from him, because there's just no way that any damage is going to be done to him early on by Genius.
You ever had a friend, Artosis, who's like, he's like, hey, check this out. You ever had a friend? I'll be. You ever had a friend who's like, hey, check out this video, and he links it to you, and it's like some guy like slipping and getting hurt.
Oh yeah,
I hate
often.
those people. I'm like, why are you sending me a video of somebody in pain? Why would I want to see that?
That's actually my mom's favorite types of videos.
Oh,
She
really?
Sends me videos of like people
like
falling
somebody
down.
slips and like hits their head. And they're like, oh, my arm's broken.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm like, that's not funny. That's sad.
You know, when I see someone get like seriously hurt in some way on a video, I go into turtle mode. Like everything on me just goes into my main body part. I like shrink up basically.
You put depots at your ramp.
It's. I hate it. It's terrible. I feel bad. I've hurt myself, Tasteless. I've been in pain. It's a terrible thing.
Yeah, man.
Pain isn't good.
Pain is
unless
bad.
your mask is so good.
It's so awesome. What is the proper number of probes to transfer? Do you know if you had to make the Forge first?
You know, there's a few different scenarios. Number one, is there any chance you're going to use probes for defense? Sometimes you're going to have a more wide open wall in, something like that. And then it's just, there's a lot of different ways to choose it. You know, by transferring, you lose a bunch of money all at once, rather than gradually by rallying probes from your other Nexus. I've been toying around a lot with, and a lot of players have, just rallying both to the natural and just keeping 2 per patch in the main, because that's optimal saturation. The 3rd per patch in main, mine's less than the first 2. So if you keep 2 per patch in main and then just send the rest down, and then rally down until you're even, then set them both back, and then do 3 per patch, that's what I've been doing recently. So, alright, so not a lot of information for either player about what the other's doing. Genius, perhaps getting ready to take a 3rd base. Is building a pylon next to it. Seal, a lot of gas already, taking all 4. And when you see him take all 4 just as the layer is starting, normally that's going to point towards Infestor. It could, of course, be Mutalisk as well. Mutalisk has gained a lot of popularity recently on the Korean server. I don't think anyone's figured out yet whether it's going to be better or worse than Infestor builds, but both are quite nice.
Well, the one nice thing about Mutas is they're a little bit harder to kill than Infestors.
Yeah.
Like when your Infestors just die, you're like, oh, crap.
And, you know, they both are going to have their ups and downs for use on this map. It's a very huge map. I think that this is actually the best map for Mutas, so I'm hoping that that's what we're going to see here out of Seal. But, you know, against a Forged cannon wall in, you can throw down a bunch of Infested Terrans. Hell, you could even throw them over the side and try to hit the 3rd base if they've taken one. And, you know, it could be cool like that. But hopefully we do see a Spire. We will see in a second. Come on.
By the way, the Overlord
Spire.
placement for Seal is actually beautiful.
Yeah,
Take a look. He actually, like...
He's scouting everything, man.
Yeah.
It's actually Infestors. Yeah, Bill did look infestery to me, but, you know, the bigger the map is, the better mutas generally are on it, because you can really punish anyone that leaves their base. It takes a long time for someone to walk over to your natural and actually attack you, so you can harass them, then go back to your mutas and meet up. But Infestor are a good choice as well. Seal getting ready to take a third base while going Infestor. Getting Overlord speed as well. He loves scouting. This is something that NSH players overall are showing us a lot of, is scouting.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful to see.
Well, it's indicating that, you know, they're basing their strategies off of information and not off hunches, not off.
I'm sorry to.
No, please go ahead. No,
Genius's attack here is actually really cool. He does have +1 attack, and it's Zealot Sentry. Now, against someone that's rushing Infestor, there are some really cool little timings you can do where you're very heavy on Zealots with +1 to kill off their Zerglings, because that's their early defense. And there's only one Spinecrawler out, so this is pretty neat.
Whoa.
Zerglings do run by.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, not sure either. We do have the little meetup here.
Look at Genius's placement's actually pretty good. Actually, you know what? He might be in trouble. He actually might be able to get him with his timing. He just needs to...
Well, we do have some roaches on the way, which will help out, and he is upgrading the pathogen glands. But once the infestors are out, the thing is they don't do a lot of damage to Zealots anymore, so Zealot timing attacks against that can be really cool. But Genius just didn't have enough gates. If he had actually gone for one of these 7-gate builds that are pretty popular right now, or yeah, 6-gate would work as well. Both those, you're going to have this opportunity to possibly kill the Zerg, or at least do a lot of damage. But as is, it was just 4 gates, it was like slight pressure. And everything looks like it's going to normalize into both players going 3 bases, and probably some infestor harassment.
We've seen infested Terrans being used more and more. I really like the play. What you want to do, if you guys are having a hard time against infested Terrans, is try to force them just to cast out all the infested Terrans, because they generally do it like all at once. In a location where you can then run away from, because infested Terrans can't really move that much. So you just kind of bait that out, let's say in the middle of the map, and then you just run for it.
No.
Assuming that you're not fungled entirely, but that's ideal.
Well, an Immortal on the way. Immortal not actually going to be very useful. This is not a game that we're likely to see too many roaches in, as it's mostly Infesterling, with some roaches mixed in, just because you did see a lot of Zealots coming up.
Genius's army looking pretty healthy here.
Yeah.
I have to say that I feel like so far Genius is actually doing just fine against Seal.
Yeah, I'm scared though. He's moving out a little bit here, and of course Fungals are super good against sentries. They have such low health that you just cast like 4 Fungals, and it's like, well, sorry, bye. Bye, sentries.
One Immortal out here. It's going to make the roaches much less scary, as long as he is targeting the roaches and not the Zerglings.
Nice spread right now by Genius, and here we go. Some nice force shields, and he's going to use Infested Terrans.
This is where he might want to back up. Well, unless he thinks he can win that fight.
There's not many places for Genius to actually back up into. And wow, these Infested Terrans going to town, Tasteless.
Now, luckily, he has been able to move away from them. They do not have the longest life. They eventually do go away. So now he should actually, yes, he should walk away. I don't know why he's engaging that.
He's like actually microing against Infested Terrans that are about to die and losing health and units.
Okay, that was not good.
You definitely want to pull back. They are so slow. Infested Terrans are like...
they're like the slowest unit in the game,
It's like a queen off creep, man. They are really slow.
I think they're even slower than that.
Really? Actually, I'm going to check the numbers, because I actually don't know the answer to that. I've never checked.
I think if I
just know in that situation, if you back up, those infesteds are dead and don't do anything damage to you. So we do have a third base up for Genius. A third base also, of course, up for Seal. He's definitely going to take another base very shortly here. In fact, he does have a drone on the way to it. Blink on the way, as well as Colossus in range.
Armor 2 for both players.
Now, we do have... no second Robo. Colossus is just such a great counter to any Infestor tech, but Seal, knowing that, throws up a Spire of his own, just in case. A lot of people do like double Robo.
You can really see Seal's dominance here on the map. I mean, he is actually the boss in this game.
Look at that map again. The Overlord spreading is just unfathomable. It's so good. And this is actually not going to be that useful.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what his game plan was here.
I think he's actually just maybe scouting. He's like, okay, now I know that you have 2 Colossi.
Like, all right, we're moving. Look how they move. They're swaying their bodies back and forth.
All right, their speed is 94.
The infested
The Creed
Terran walks like a
speed
drunk guy.
is also 94, so they're actually the same speed off creep.
Look how cool that death animation is.
Faceless, I think you're right. Infested Terran's actually the slowest unit overall. The off creep move speed is the same as Queen, but on creep, I believe Queen gets actually a bigger boost.
Yeah, the Queen has like a crazy boost.
Yeah. She turns into like a speed skater on the creep.
I know.
All right, we do have, Warp Prism speed on the way. Genius, you're making me a happy man. Also, a second robotics.
Looks like he's...
I am liking this, Tasteless. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Genius is actually playing very solid. Look at this. But he cannot move out. He's starting to move out, and just pokes and prods are okay, but he can't move too far out because right now we have a max seal against a 165 Genius.
Oh, nice.
This is the time where he's actually least powerful. He needs to be so careful not to actually engage right now.
Uh-oh. This could be bad.
But actually, I think he should be all right with this. There's a lot of investors there.
Up. Yep.
But even if he loses these, yeah, it looks like he has more than enough to actually hold this off. And the Seal being forced back a little bit, throwing up Infested Terrans to slow units down there on attack move, I guess.
Wow.
Genius looking very good.
Genius is actually doing this, man. I've gained a lot of respect for Genius.
You know, he did look good in one of his games in Code S groups this time. And he's showing here that, hey, guess what? I'm not done. Every time you think I'm done is when I'm not done. So if we actually ever give him the courtesy of saying he's not done, then he's probably just going to be done.
All right, he's moving out now. I think actually Seal's about to die.
We will see. A lot of drones being pulled up. He thinks so too, Tasis. That's when you pull the drones.
And
Terrans everywhere.
Infested Terrans are being killed off before they can hatch here.
Zod's doing a good job of tanking some damage. Those 2 Colossi being worth their weight in gold.
Nice
both
Stalker
with 14
back up
plus
there.
kills.
And, you know, with those Corruptors picked off earlier, the Colossus here in the back is worth its weight in gold. And even if it's eventually killed up, which it looks like it will be in the next second here, there's just, I believe, too many Stalkers out. If he starts to blink micro those, he'll be fine.
Yeah, he does have 2-1 upgrades.
It's like Colossus like walk through the Zerg's base.
That's quite true. Drones coming down to fight. Colossus is there, and GG. I am surprised, man. Genius actually just put up a very nice macro game. I didn't see anything actually gimmicky in there at all.
No, it was very standard.
Very well done by him.
Seal was a little bit too aggressive with his infestors.
Yeah, he was.
There was this weird thing where he casted a few in front. Not the first attack. The first attack was fine. It chiseled the army down. But
that second one where he was maxed, actually, his maxed army was pretty terrible. It was like a lot of lings, a weird amount of roaches, and then like a bunch of infestors. And when he attacked, it was just like force fields went up, and he lost basically everything except the infestors that ran away. I don't know. I didn't really like that engagement at all. At all. I didn't like the max. It was a strange scenario. But Genius played very, very well.
I think he might have.
And he's actually, that's a pretty scary Protoss right there, actually.
Well, I don't think you bring out Sage now. I do not think. I think you got to bring out somebody else, maybe a Terran or somebody like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know who, though.
Well, let's go with Jack G or Sculp. I mean, those are the 2 Terrans. I would put out Sculp because, well, you know, we haven't seen Sculp as much. Jack G's been doing a lot better. But if you're going to use Sculp, use him now.
Yeah.
If you're not going to use Sculp for the matchup, okay, that's fine. Don't use him. But if you are, use him now. Other than that, Jack G.
Would you ever consider using a Protoss in this situation?
No. PvP is still a little bit volatile. No one's completely solved it right now. It's a much different matchup right now. A lot of them are last a lot
I think it's
longer.
actually much better now.
Oh, it is. It's actually turning into a really cool matchup where like expansions are taken and stuff.
All right. Who's it going to be? We have...
I think that's Sculp.
Is it? I think you're right. What? Genius.
Yeah,
Sculp.
it is Sculp.
Sculp. He's like, that nerd? I'm going to kill that nerd, is what Genius just said.
Baseless. I'm feeling this match for NSH, man. They're putting out like the exact people, I'm guessing. That's like
Well, I think that's why this team is winning, is they're actually really taking their time and considering who they need to send out.
Yeah. Sculp is a good choice. His TVP is actually really, really nice. I haven't seen much of his play, and some of it's been wretched, but the last TVP that I saw him play was actually phenomenal.
I'm looking forward to this game. The map will be on Metalopolis, so we're going to have a TVP. This is a pretty even matchup. He's right up 50-50. We're going to have a 5-minute break, so don't go too far away. We'll be back here with Genius against Sculp in the GSTL soon.